Hello and welcome back to a new video. Today I am ranking my top 10 favorite songs from the show Steven Universe. Trust me when I say that this list was incredibly hard to make, because there are so many phenomenal songs in this show, and there isn't a single one that I dislike. After going through every single song, I had managed to narrow it down to 16, and then spent around an hour cutting it down to the final 10 and making my final ranking. I will be looking at 5 things when I decide what songs to put on the list. Number 1, context, meaning the build up to the song and the circumstances leading up to it. Number 2, impact, meaning the consequences that the song brings to the characters and the show itself. Number 3, music, meaning how catchy the song is and how I enjoy the beat. Number 4, lyrics, meaning how impactful and meaningful the lyrics are and how well written the song is. And finally, number 5, performance, meaning how well the song is sung, how good the voice acting is, and how well the particular voice works with the music. Let me know down below what your list is, and without further ado, let's get right into my list.
Take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust. Take a moment to think of just flexibility, love, and trust.
At number 10, we have Here Comes a Thought. This is a very beautiful song that can be enjoyed outside the context of the show. It explores the difficulties behind accepting yourself and the importance of forgiving yourself, and how even though you might feel lost, you should never have to face your problems alone. The song is very well performed by 2 actresses with a wide vocal range and very soothing voices that stimulate your ears and your brain and leave a lasting impact. The vocals play very well off of each other and work in a stunning harmony that can't be overlooked. The character development of Stevonne, Steven and Bonnie's fusion, is elevated further in this scene than probably in any other episode of the show, and we get a clear understanding of how the struggles of one person can affect the other member of the fusion. It also shows development for Ruby and Sapphire, seeing as they have overcome their differences and are now teaching the future generation. Connie becomes even more likable after this scene, and although I dislike her in later seasons, this song catches you off guard with its beauty, and the stunning visuals of the scene keeps your attention directed at what's happening at that exact time, and therefore keeps your mind off of everything you dislike about the show. The clip that goes along with the song has the characters sitting in a room that looks like a bubble, and can be compared to the feelings of the characters themselves. The room is blue, signifying feelings of sadness, but the sky is clear and shows that there is hope for the future, even when everything feels awful.
Familiar, why is this so familiar? Familiar, like something I used to know.
Number 9 is Familiar. The main reason I love this song so much is that it immediately showcases Steven's rapid maturity and character growth. His voice is deeper and he sings more calmly than he previously did, signifying that his outlook on life has been altered during the course of the series. When he talks, his voice is extremely high-pitched, but when he sings, he is more at peace and his voice becomes deeper and lower. Like his father before him, music has always been a big part of his life, even in the darkest of times, and he can always turn to it to feel calm, safe and more at ease. This song also makes clever use of the pebble gems following Steven around. Their high-pitched voices work like a background choir and play very well off of Steven's much darker voice. The song has a slow build-up, but when the transition to Steven's eventual realization of his current position and his coming to terms with his situation kicks in, the music amps up and becomes more light-hearted and positive sounding. It has a natural change of pace and doesn't feel out of place whatsoever. The only complaint I have really is that the song ends right when it's at its best part. I wish it was longer, but I also think that even with its short length, it accomplishes what it needs to, that being conveying a message of love, acceptance and power not coming easy for everyone, and that it's something we all have to work hard to obtain.
This is Garnet, back together. And I'm never going down at the hands of the likes of you, because I'm so much better. And every part of me is saying, go get her.
At the 8th spot, we've got ourselves the one, the only, Stronger Than You. This might be one of the most famous Steven Universe songs of them all, especially outside the Steven Universe fandom. I've heard people talking about it and listening to it that have never watched the show, and that should speak for itself. It has a wide appeal and differentiates itself from all other songs in the show. It's got a different style, a different feel, and a unique genre that's not often explored in shows like these. It follows up a massive plot twist that originally made my jaw drop, because I never saw it coming. After a great build-up, the two strongest characters on the ship finally meet up for an epic battle, and the beginning of the song leads up to the chorus when the fight begins. Garnet is spitting straight fire in this song. She's not only dissing Jasper hard, but she also has an amazing action scene to go along with the song itself. There isn't really any deep meaning behind this song that I could find, which is why it's a nice change of pace. It's got a sick hip-hop beat, and features some of the best vocal work in the series. Garnet was also at this time not the person you would most imagine rapping and singing a song like this, seeing as she had always been very quiet and mysterious up until that point, also very serious. It's good to see her lighten up a bit and act out of character, which also makes sense because this fusion has for the first time in a long ass time felt what it was like to be separated, and therefore wants to protect their bond even more. It may feel like too rapid of a development for that character at first, but after a while you realize that it's because of how much their bond means to each other, and how just a tiny change in behavior or circumstances can lead to a big change. It's respectable and a fresh way to explore character growth. Props to the showrunners for coming up with such a sick song.
That's right, I heard the story over and over again. Gee, it's swell to finally meet her other friends. That's right, I heard the story, don't really like how it ends.
Coming into number 7 is Other Friends. This song is very important to talk about, because it shows that Steven Universe still has merit. After 5 seasons and peace having finally been restored in the universe, one would think that a cliché perfect happy ending was to be expected, but the show somehow managed to subvert people's expectations with a movie announcement that would take place after the 5th season of the show. In this movie, a new character, Spinel, is introduced and shows that there will always be someone who's unhappy. No one person has the capability of pleasing everyone, and you can never expect to live a happy, perfect life, even when it looks like there is no going back. Spinel's entrance to the battlefield is insanely cool. She opens with this song, and is actually only the second character, following Garnet, as mentioned before, to kick someone's ass while singing a badass song. I believe, at least. This song showcases Spinel's incredible vocal range. The tone of the song constantly switched between dark, light, and a mix of both themes. Spinel is an unpredictable character with a tragic history and backstory, but when she appears, she is mysterious and catches the heroes off guard. They think they have made everyone happy, but their actions have actually had negative consequences for some people, and they are completely oblivious to it, because they don't have any real experience with victory, especially not Steven. Pearl in particular is shocked to see Spinel because she recognizes her, but is unwilling to admit to herself that she is really there. Although she might remind her of Rose, that is a part of her life she wishes to rid herself of, but Spinel comes back and brings tragedy and bad memories back to everyone. The song is very catchy, and the beat is fast-paced and insanely rapid. Every time you think it's slowing down, it pulls a 180 and comes right back at you at full speed. You can hear anger, sadness, excitement, and even a bit of smugness in her voice. She is completely aware of what has happened, upset and saddened by the events that have occurred, and the fact that the world has moved on without her, but she is also ready to get her revenge, and she knows it's coming and that she has managed to catch them off guard. It's a moment of realization for her that they are in a weakened state and that she has every opportunity to take advantage of their status and her own feelings.
Backing up, but if I make a scene, stepping out of my hot pink limousine.
At the 6th spot is Haven't You Noticed I'm a Star, specifically the Olivia Olsen version. This song is just a guilty pleasure of mine, to be honest. It doesn't have a big impact on the show in any significant regard, it's just a great song. You could argue that because of the song, Sadie and her mom started to get more along and get a better understanding of each other, and Steven got to really come out of his shell and show everyone what he's capable of. But this version of the song in particular is really just a side thing to jam out to when bored or in need of some good music. It could very well have been a regular pop song if you remove the context of the show. That's how good it is. It's catchy, has a great beat, and is also very sassy. I don't normally like sass, but in this occasion it's okay with me, because it plays so well into the high energy music and the vocals branching out into pop territory. There isn't really much else to say about it, to be honest, so I'm gonna move on to number 5.
All I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman, a giant woman. All I wanna be is someone who gets to see a giant woman.
Coming into number 4 is Giant Woman. This song is not deep or meaningful, it's just extremely funny and very, very catchy. It also foreshadows a lot of future events, but I'm not gonna touch too much on exactly that. The animation was at its best in season 1 of Steven Universe, and the song really goes well with the scenery here. You just wouldn't expect to see a so-called giant woman in a location like this, but the show manages to make it work with creative animation and brilliant writing and direction. The song is catchy, but it's also self-aware and knows how ridiculous it is, and it uses this to its advantage by making the animation silly and the song as out of the realistic boundaries of society as possible. You really feel like you are a part of this fantasy world where everything is possible and you don't have to think about all your problems. Steven knows what he wants and he goes for it, something many people can probably relate to by watching and listening to the song. I love it, but there isn't really that much else to say about it, so let's move on.
Isn't this such a beautiful night? Whoa, we're underneath 1,000 shining stars.
Number 3 is Be Wherever You Are. This is the song that made me finally start liking Lars. With only words in a song, they are able to capture the beautiful scenery of the island they are currently residing in. And not only that, but it indirectly tells us about Lars' character growth in this one episode alone. This change of location has been a refresher for him, something he really needed, and we get a better understanding of where he's coming from and why it's so necessary for him to get the change that is finally presented to him. The song also has a sweet, chilling feel to it. You get the sense that you're in a cozy, confined space, but not without possibilities and opportunities to experience new things and achieve goals and dreams that you didn't even know you had until this very moment. Steven's solo songs are always great, but this one takes the cake if you exclude the next one, which is a very special entry.
Can't you see it in my eyes? I'm the one, 2, 3, 4. I'm not like the other guys. He's not like anybody well.
At the second spot, we've got Steven and the Stevens and Steven and the Crystal Gems. I know. This is technically cheating, placing 2 songs in one spot, but they are both different versions of the same song and show great development from the start of the episode to the end of it. In the beginning, Steven has been turned down by the Gems and turns to the belief that he can do everything by himself. So he cheats his way to victory by going back in time and getting different versions of himself to help him play in his band. He's very selfish, ironically enough, and treats the other hymns like nothing but his subordinates, even though they are literally him. The song is still very good and creative as hell, but it isn't until the end of the episode that the song really comes full circle and Steven gets to show his full potential. The Gems have finally given him the attention he seeked, and he himself has realized his past mistakes and corrected them, and has therefore matured a tiny bit. To make a band work, you need to have a team that is skilled at their own instrument and that can play well off each other. You can't interact with yourself and come up with different ideas that work hand in hand, which makes it pretty much impossible to make a good band. But with different personalities and talents mixed together, anything is possible. It's also even more catchy the second time around, but you still need both versions of the song to get the full experience. One is not complete without the other, if you get what I'm saying. Before we get into the very best Steven Universe song, let me just mention 6 honorable mentions that barely didn't make the list. I won't talk about them, I will just play a few seconds of each of them.
She was trapped in a mirror and it couldn't be clearer. She wanted to leave this place and get herself back in space. And Dad, you might think she's a criminal.
I will fight for the place where I'm free to live together and exist as me.
I will fight in the name of rose quartz and everything that she believed in. I will fight deep down, you know, you weren't built for fighting, but that doesn't mean you're not prepared to try what they don't know.
Mom was a diamond who invaded Earth, saw its beauty and its worth. Mom made an army and she fought herself. Did that even end up mattering when she faked her own shattering?
It all became so lovely, those bluest skies above me, those funny feelings I had never felt before I met you.
Hey there, have you heard about the infamous gem war? Well, it all started long before I was born. Thousands of years of fighting to protect the human race. It's been pretty tough. Here we are in the future. Here we are in the future, and it's bright. Nothing to fear, no one to fight.
And finally, the number 1 spot goes to my favorite Steven Universe song of them all, that being Happily Ever After. When I first heard this song in the movie, I am gonna be completely honest with you all, I really disliked it. I thought it was unnecessarily long and boring, and I didn't quite grasp the meaning behind it. But when I rewatched the movie for a second time, I slowly started getting into it, and now it's my favorite of all the songs. I like how it reintroduces us to the characters, with a now grown-up Steven, and every character has really evolved. Steven is no longer in Rose's shadow, he has developed his own individual identity, and he has made himself known around the galaxy as a savior of the world that finally feels happy and secure in his own skin. After Steven's little bit, we cut right to Pearl and Greg getting along and hanging out on their own terms, without Steven even being present. I love this development between those two and the bond that they have made. Pearl is also no longer attached to Rose. She has managed to move on and is now happy with the life she has. Pearl's voice is also very nice to listen to as always, so is Garnet's voice, and her story of Ruby and Sapphire is as wonderful as ever. The song changes its tone to fit the vocal ranges and the personalities of the different singing characters when it's their turn, and in that way makes it easier to follow the story. Amethyst has the best growth in my opinion. She was always unhappy and dissatisfied with her life because she felt she didn't fit in and wasn't a properly made gem. Her home world was in shambles, abandoned and forgotten, and she was left in a place she never managed to call her home. Finally though, she has found her place on Earth amongst her friends and family, and she is able to at last call this her home. The song is very cheerful and uplifting, and you feel like victory has been achieved at last. Well, we all know it doesn't last, but it's a nice feeling to have before everything turns to shit again. That was all I have to say. What do you think of my list? Share yours down below, and be sure to join my Discord server linked down below in the description, where you can continue to discuss this topic or any other topic with me and my friends. I really hope to see you there. Make sure you check out my channel's community page once in a while as well to vote for what my next videos should be, and to always stay updated on the latest and greatest from Adrian EN. I hope to see you around in my next video. Bye bye.